makes quick decisions, and he's as tough as they come. He started every game for the Chargers since 2006, and now he's really starting to get some help from the defense. This is a unit that's been overlooked and underappreciated. Just check out these numbers. But what's most impressive is the fact they're giving up a league low 12.6 points a game. They are tough.
Today's game is being broadcast in Spanish. We're available using the SAP button on your television. The Raiders won the toss, and they will receive. And so deep back for Oakland will be rookie T.J. Carey. And to kick off for the San Diego Chargers, Nick Novak. Last week it was a shutout by this terrific San Diego defense, 31-0 over the Jets. The only loss was by a point, Rich, in opening weekend at Arizona. But they have done everything right defensively, and we're going to see their defense right off the bat.
Yeah, they've won 4 in a row, and I think they're playing complementary football. We talked a little bit about it in the open, how well the quarterback is playing. But the big story, I think, is the defense. They're taking the ball away, and they're getting off the field on 3rd down.
Already registering 12 sacks through 5 games, and here we go. And that's going to go to the back of the end zone, and Carey will leave it there. It'll be a touchback. And out to the 20-yard line, which takes us to quarterback Derek Carr. The rookie gets another start for the Raiders.
Yeah, and I think, he's really, I think he's done a nice job, Kevin. He's not been overwhelmed by the magnitude of the situation here in Oakland. At first, this was Matt Schaub's team. It's quickly become his team. He didn't want to step on any toes initially, but there's no looking back now. This guy has to perform for the Raiders.
8:56 tonight. Hey, nudge, Austin, nudge.
They line up with a 1st and 10 at their 20-yard line with Darren McFadden in the backfield.
180. Set.
Carr, who played at Fresno State, will give it off to McFadden with not much there, out to about the 22-yard line. And he picks up 3 on the play. Menelik Watson replaces the injured Khalif Barnes at right tackle today. Jackson at left guard is a rookie, and a good one. And the leading receiver for this Oakland offense is former Green Bay Packer James Jones. He's caught a couple touchdowns and 21 balls from Carr already. It's 2nd down and 7 yards to go on the game's opening drive. Already to 5 defensive backs for the Chargers. Carr may have been deflected. It was, I think, by the sprinting Marcus Gilchrist. We had a nice game last week against the Jets. Charger defense number 3 on the line. The disruptive Corey Legent has the most quarterback pressures. In the linebacking core renewed, Dwight Freeney replaces the injured Melvin Ingram. And he has played well. And in the secondary, fortified now with the addition of Pro Bowl cornerback Brandon Flowers. He already has a couple of picks on the season. It is 3rd and 7. Again, sticking in the nickel. Extra receiver is Bryce Butler. Carr with time. Oh, and he's got a receiver. That is Holmes. Chased by Flowers. Chased by Verrett. That will be a touchdown. A 77-yard touchdown pass. Andre Holmes out of tiny Hillside in Michigan.
Well, they're bringing pressure, and they've done it on 2 of the first 3 snaps. The pocket protection's good. Carr's got a chance to set his feet, and this is what he really does well. Throw the ball down the field with great accuracy.
With the welcoming party in the black hole, that is a long of 77 yards, the longest play so far this season for the Raider offense, with a Janikowski extra point, which makes it 7-0. Right off the bat, 3 plays, 80 yards. What a way for interim head coach Tony Sperano to begin his time with the Raiders. Brought in on a 77-yard touchdown pass. This is the kind of fireworks we haven't seen in this building from that team in a long time.
And what did Tony Sperano tell us on Friday, Kevin? They need to make something good happen early. These players need to see something positive. It's been a while. It's a terrific way to start.
Here's the kickoff by Janikowski. Deep back is rookie free agent Brandon Oliver, who is left in the end zone at the urge of his teammate. And the Chargers will get it 1st and 10 at their 20.
Well, we talked about some zone pressures, and of course you look at they're going to run the post, and the protection's good. Carr steps up. You just see Holmes. He starts inside, and then he goes to the post, and Flowers simply can't catch him. We talked about how important it was for this young Raiders offense to get off to a good start.
Well, you mentioned the protection. That was very evident on that play.
Terrific. They've got to be strong inside, and that's what Carr needs to do. He had the high ankle sprain, the knee sprain against the Dolphins in London 2 weeks ago, Kevin. He needs protection to be successful.
The nickel secondary greets Philip Rivers with a 1st down and 10. And some movement, and off sides they go, and maybe a little overzealous Khalil Mack. Or was he induced? Our referee, Tony Corrente. He officiated Super Bowl 41 along with 4 conference championship games.
Neutral zone infraction, defense. Step in neutral zone, causing offensive player to false start. 5-yard penalty, remains 1st down.
So there's a look at Philip Rivers, who already has been named the AFC Player of the Month for September.
Well, this guy's playing lights out right now, Kevin. And just visiting with him last night. This says the preparation, not just from the quarterback position, but around him. This has been as good as he's seen since he's been in San Diego.
This is Oliver on 1st and 5, and he was drilled in the play by Burris and allowed a gain of 3, and he's up to the 28-yard line. 3 different centers in 5 games to start the season. Injury issues. Rich Ohrnberger is back today. Right tackle DJ Fluker will play and starts. He missed some time with an ankle this week in practice. And the tight end Antonio Gates is healthy, and it shows with his 5 touchdown passes received already. There's some shoving after the play. It's a 2nd down and 2.
Well, no love lost between these 2 teams. They're going to run Brandon Oliver up the middle. A lot of pushing and shoving going on after the fact. Oh, yeah.
Fluker's
This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. You should know.
Anytime these 2 teams get together.
Couple tight ends. Rivers. Outside. This is Green, the tight end. Chased by Usama Young and races down the sideline to the 45 and picks up 27. That is Ladarius Green out of Louisiana Lafayette. The Oakland defense. Raiders spent a lot of money on big-name free agents, but not much return yet. Still waiting on Tuck and Woodley to show something. They do like rookie linebacker Khalil Mack. He's been all over the field, a high draft pick out of Buffalo. And in the secondary, 38-year-old Charles Woodson leads a very veteran group. And there he is, the former NFL Defensive Player of the Year with the Packers. It is a 1st down. With another flag.
False start, offense number 88. 5-yard penalty, remains 1st down.
That's David Johnson, their tight end.
They got a lot of them, and they use them all, Kevin. You look at Ladarius Green just caught a pass with Antonio Gates. We know how dangerous he can be, and of course, you look at the David Johnson comes in and has a false start penalty. They get them all involved in the game early. It's important to get them touches, get their confidence early in games.
It's a 1st and 15 for Rivers. Ohrnberger, a bad snap, and Rivers has to dig it out, and now he runs. He got away from Tuck, and he throws to Gates. And Gates is down near the Raider 40-yard line. How about the cool? A gain of 11. It'll be 2nd down and a couple.
Well, this is what happens when you continue to change centers. They're on to their 3rd different center right now. And not a good snap, but look how Philip Rivers just keeps the play alive. Everyone's down the field, just stops. Philip Rivers finds a way to keep his poise.
We talked to him last night. He's about as cool and as collected as he's ever been.
Well, he's played at such a high level for so long, and Really feels this is a special football team he has around him.
Little 2nd and 5 handoff right here goes to Oliver, and he's wrapped up initially as he takes it for a gain of about a yard, bringing up 3rd down and 4. Yeah, he is a man in full right now as the quarterback for the Chargers. He's thrown 12 touchdown passes, only 2 picks. Such an incredible command of the entire offense.
He really does. I mean, I think even, he had one of his best seasons last year after 2 years that had people wondering if he had anything left. And now he's off to another terrific start. The talent around him, I think, is as good as it's been.
With the 3rd and 4, looking into the nickel, and Ronnie Brown, who has just been re-signed this week because of all the injuries to Donald Brown, and Ryan Matthews is back there. Rivers, and looking for Allen. There goes a flag. It was thrown at about the 27-yard line into the secondary, where the Raiders are watching a very dangerous receiver in the young Keenan Allen.
Holding, defense number 23. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That was on 3rd and 4, so it goes on Terrell Brown, the veteran from the San Francisco 49ers.
Well, he just tries to grab him a little bit right as he's coming out of the break. And look at Keenan Allen. He was sensational as a rookie. He set team records in catches and receiving yards. These corners have to play well today against Malcolm Floyd and Keenan Allen. These are guys that really do a great job at the top of their routes, creating some separation, making it easier for Philip Rivers to find holes down the field.
He's reading them, and as they run the routes, they're reading the defensive back.
Absolutely, and they do a good job reading whether it's man or zone and finding those holes in the coverage.
Oliver gets the call on 1st and 10, and he again is wrapped up by the linebacker Miles Burris. He leads the team in tackles, and it is a gain of 5. Rivers, like we mentioned earlier, was the best player in the AFC offensively in the month of September.
What I really like about Philip Rivers is how he functions and operates in the pocket. He's not much of a scrambler. He will slide time in the pocket to buy extra time, but that's where he makes his money.
Oliver again, and he's a little guy at only 5'6", and he stopped right there in the middle. You can see the avalanche of jerseys in there making the stopping, including Mack, and it is a lot of no huddle by San Diego, and they have to rely on the reads of Rivers at the line.
They love it. I think Philip loves the flexibility, the freedom, and the responsibility. I think the players have bought in. And it makes it difficult for a defensive coordinator to dial up all those pressures and to make substitutions when you have a quarterback like Philip Rivers who has the experience and the ability to jump the ball.
Into the nickel. Royal is in. Brown was at the side of Rivers, and they go deep for Royal. He has got it for a touchdown. Eddie Royal has just lassoed a 29-yard touchdown reception. Carlos Rogers beaten in the Raiders secondary.
Well, what a terrific throw by Philip Rivers. And again, Kevin, we talked about his ability to step up in the pocket. See the pressure come outside. Look how he just steps up in there, puts some air on this ball. I mean, Eddie Royal never has to change his gait. I mean, he just runs right through the intersection and makes a terrific catch.
Royal gets his 5th touchdown reception, the 13th touchdown pass thrown by Rivers. He just saw now he's gone 26 consecutive games with a touchdown pass. The extra point is up and in by Novak. Key on that defensive hold on 3rd down kept the Charger drive alive. Each quarterback throwing touchdown passes. Rivers right here with a 29-yarder right on the money.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. Verizon XLTE on America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE network. And by the all-new 2015 Honda Fit. The new Fit is a great fit for you.
Beautiful day in the Bay Area. As we mentioned, aerial coverage of today's game is provided by DirecTV. The blimp high overhead. The 3rd member of our crew is Scott Kaplan on the sideline. Scott, good afternoon.
Kevin, good afternoon to you. Tony Sperano this week, his first job was to officiate a funeral. He went out to the training facilities at the Oakland Raiders, and he dug a hole and then took a football and buried the ball to symbolize that the Raiders need to start over, that they need to leave the first 4 weeks behind. I asked him, where'd you get this little trick of symbolism? He said, Rex Ryan of the Jets in 2012, Kevin.
Well, there are no new ideas, only borrowed ideas. Thank you, Scott. Here's the kickoff, and rookie T.J. Carey brings it in, keeps it in the end zone, touched back to the 20. It'll be 1st and 10. But this is not a road that has not been traveled already by Tony Sparano. He has been in Miami, and he did a terrific job as an interim head coach and later the head coach of the Miami Dolphins.
Well, you're right, Kevin. He has done it before. He took over a 1-15 team in 2008, and they went on to win 11 games. And I think, as I said in the open, it's very difficult to change the culture and the environment. But what he's got to do is he's got to find a way to light a spark under some of these players. They've got to play with some passion and energy, and you just knew they were going to come out after what happened after the bye and really play well here early.
It's McFadden on 1st and 10. Verrett, the rookie defensive back out of TCU, brings him out of bounds. It is a gain of 3. And he's up to the 23-yard line.
And just in visiting with the Charger players and coaches last night, I mean, they knew they had to weather the storm in the first 15 minutes of this game because they were going to get everything the Raiders had. And I think the Raiders are going to be aggressive. They're going to take chances. They may do some unorthodox things, whether it's on 4th down going for it or in the kicking game. They've got to do something. They just don't have the depth and talent to be able to beat the Chargers if they don't play a clean game.
McCants comes in as an extra offensive lineman on a 2nd down and 7 for Derek Carr, the younger brother of David Carr, #1 overall pick a handful of years ago. Short, this is McFadden, read well by linebacker Donald Butler, who is the 2nd leading tackler on this defense. It is a gain of 5 to the 27.
Well, there's a lot to like in Derek Carr. You know, obviously he comes from good NFL bloodlines, and I think he's got the arm talent, the athleticism, and I think a very, very good feel for the game. You watch him play, it doesn't seem like it's too big for him. He plays fast. He's got a good feel for the offense, and he plays within himself. Doesn't try to make the impossible throw. I like that from the young quarterback.
Butler, the extra receiver, 6 in the San Diego secondary, 3rd and a long 2. Carr on a quick. There's Butler. He catches the ball right in front of the defensive back, Verrett. It is a gain of 6 and a Raider 1st down.
Well, this is good to see. You've got some bigger receivers against some smaller corners. Good accurate throw there by Carr. This is where they've got to win. They've got to be able to create some separation. They have not played really well at the wide receiver position.
1st and 10 for the Raiders.
180. What's it?
Back to 4 in the secondary, and Carr going short and dropped by Reese. Usually sure-handed Marcel Reese with the drop, 2nd down and 10. Access all of today's football action on the go. Download the award-winning CBS Sports app now for instant scores, breaking news, video, and more, all on your phone. 2nd down and 10. And I don't think you've talked to a lot of people in the league over the last couple of weeks. Everybody liked this kid coming out of school.
There's no question. I mean, he played in a good program, and he's very mature. He's married. He's got a young child. He's coming here and he's done everything they've asked of him.
Beat him. Yeah, 180.
Nickel secondary, 2nd down and 10 for the Raiders. McFadden. Adai was the one to sideswipe him about the 38-yard line on a gain of 5.
What they need to do for the young quarterback is help him. And you help him by running the football better, Kevin. It's just a shock to me. They're dead last in rushing. They're last in rush attempts. They're averaging just around 61 yards a game. And this is what they've got. They've got these backs. You got Maurice Jones-Drew. You've got Darren McFadden. You've got Marcel Reese. They've all been Pro Bowlers at one time or another. Have to be able to run the ball some.
5 defensive backs. Denarius Moore is the extra receiver for the Raiders. 3rd and 5.
Rex.
Carr. Incomplete, looking for Jones. And the coverage across the way by the rookie Jason Verrett. It's incomplete. The Raiders have got a punt.
Well, timing throw, just misses it. Well, I like the reaction. Reminds me of a guy I used to know.
Yeah, number 12 here. And I'm not talking about Kenny Stabler.
You know, this whole offense is based on timing and rhythm and players being in the right place. It's good to see the young quarterback. He needs to get on some of these older guys. It's got to be right.
Here's Marquette King, who was the best punter in the NFL a season ago. On a basically windless day, he gets it off to Royal at the 16. Hang time of 4-6, 44-yarder. Rivers and the offense coming back out for the Chargers in a tie game.
Marquee matchup. Anytime you play a San Diego offense, you better have a plan for how you're going to account for Antonio Gates Rivers and Gates have been together for 11 years. I like the idea that you choke them at the line of scrimmage. You put a linebacker on them to disrupt the timing and the rhythm of his release. And now you come down with a safety. You have to be able to change up your looks anytime you're going against Antonio Gates and Philip Rivers. In and out coverage, bracket coverage, man coverage, double coverage. Anything you can do to disrupt Antonio Gates.
That's a lot of coverage. First down and 10 from the 17. Second possession for the Chargers. Here comes Woodley pressuring Rivers. He throws it away. Rich, let me ask you about the tight end. It seems like the Chargers are almost at the forefront of getting guys who played other sports, namely basketball guys, and sticking them in that position of a tight end. Gates, a great example.
Well, Tony Gonzalez, who you and I are very familiar with, Kansas City and in Atlanta. Just players that are very athletic, guys that can run and catch. And, you know, a guy that understands his role. I mean, he is still a handful. And as I said before, you better have a plan for him, especially in the red zone. He is not in there to block anybody in the running game.
Second down and 10. Here comes Oliver. Brought down by Woodson with a burst up to the 25. And he picks up 8 on the play. This Brandon Oliver was terrific in the win over the Jets last week. 182 total yards with a very familiar 43 on his back.
He so reminds you of Darren Sproles. I mean, a tough tackle in the open field. He's a downhill runner. Very good balance and vision. And he's strong for a smaller back. You know, there's not a lot of wasted motion. That's what I like about him. He is a one-cut downhill runner.
Rivers now with a 3rd and 2. Ronnie Brown is in. Sits in the secondary. Royal is the extra receiver. Moving up, and that's where they shut the door. Coming through, C.J. Wilson, the ex-Packer. With his first sack, it's a loss of 7, and they'll have to punt.
Well, C.J. Wilson, here he is, right in the middle of your screen, and this is just great effort. Actually working. He's getting double-teamed by the center and the left guard. He just keeps pushing, keeps working, and Philip Rivers just winds up right in his lap. Good effort by C.J. Wilson.
Rivers moves up in that pocket about as effectively as any quarterback in the league, too.
Well, he knows he can't get outside the pocket, so he's safest where he steps up inside between the center and guards.
Cyphers the punt. Carey sizes it up from the 31 for the Raiders. They tried to trip him, but it was finally a tackle made by Gatchkar. T.J. Carey, he's another one, a 7th-round rookie out of Ohio. Good job there, 19-yard return and a timeout.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. And by Fidelity Investments. Tap into the full power of your Fidelity Green Line.
David Carr's younger brother, Derek Carr, has thrown a 77-yard touchdown pass for the Raiders. Rivers has thrown a 29-yard touchdown pass for the Chargers in back-to-back possessions. Here now is a possession for the Raiders from midfield after a nice punt return by the rookie Carey. It is 1st and 10. Derek Carr. Hang time there and through the fingertips of McFadden, who is covered by the linebacker Gatchkar. It is incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Hey, start your week off with a bang, a big bang. Catch Emmy winner Jim Parsons and the rest of the gang on TV's #1 comedy. It's a new Big Bang Theory tomorrow at 8, 7 Central, only on CBS. 2nd down and 10 with Maurice Jones-Drew coming in for the first time in the backfield for Carr and the Raiders.
180! What's it?
Jones-Drew, the former Jaguar, into the middle. Looked like Cavell Connor wrapped him up as he took it up the middle. And gains about 3 on the play, but he is in to charge the territory. Some notable inactives today include the 2 running backs, Matthews and Brown. And Teo continues to be out with a foot injury. Wright was a starter in the secondary. And then Khalif Barnes, as we told you before, is out. And the former Charger, Vincent Brown, is out for the Raiders today with a hamstring injury. He was a former 3rd-round pick by the Chargers. It's 3rd down and 7. With the secondary numbering 6.
56, 5-0.
Jones-Drew remains. Penn with the block at the left tackle. Across the middle, dropped by Jones. It is incomplete. at the 45. So they can do nothing, Rich, with good beginning field position.
But Eric Weddle's a heck of a player. I mean, I think he's their best defensive player. Very instinctive. He always seems to be around the action. Leads the team with 28 tackles. You see him he sees this the whole way. He sees James Jones on that drive route. And he's right there to make the big hit. Of course, we love his beard.
Who doesn't?
The best in the business right there.
You tried to grow that and it hasn't worked for you.
It'd be a long time.
I know.
A lot of years.
It's a good beard. Here's Marquette King with another punt. 2 consecutive punts for the Oakland Raiders. Aussie-style kick. Under it is Royal, the former Bronco, at the 15, 31-yard, well-placed punt. Hanged down with just 3.6, but he got it where he wanted it. Here comes Philip Rivers, arguably the hottest quarterback in the NFL, next for the Chargers. No doubt the Raiders have one of the great fan bases in the entire league. Here comes Rivers with a 1st and 10. And it's Oliver. Got a nice block from the tight end Gates and takes it up to the 21. And a host of guys bring him down right there. It is a gain of 7 on the play at the 21-yard line. We see a lot of no huddle, Rich, from this San Diego offense. And one of the things that the Raiders are telling us is they vary the speed, this offense of the Chargers, they vary the speed of, is it a quick snap? Do they take their time? It's different from play to play.
Yeah, they do. They do a really nice job varying the pace, and you can do that with a quarterback like Philip Rivers, Kevin, who's been in the system for a long time. And they can jump the ball, they can slow it down on you, but regardless, they keep the pressure on you, and they make it difficult for the defensive coordinator.
Justin Tucker just made that tackle. Is down. There's an injury timeout and 3:45 in the first. Tuck hobbled off under his own power. They've had a lot of injuries on that defensive side for Oakland.
Yeah, they're struggling inside in the middle of that defense. They're so beat up at the linebacker position right now. Roach is on IR. Maeva went on IR. Moore missed the last 2 games with an ankle. He's back. But that's really where they're struggling, right in the middle of that defense.
Watt, by the way, playing the right guard on this offensive series for San Diego. 2nd down, 3. And looking for Malcolm Floyd, who is brought down by Terrell Brown. It's in front of the Raider bench, as you can see, to the 41. 17-yard hit and a 1st down for San Diego.
Well, they run by you, and then they purposely throw the ball behind Malcolm Floyd. And it just makes it so difficult for that corner, Terrell Brown. I mean, you don't want him to run the go route and go by, and Philip Rivers has done a nice job with that back shoulder throw.
It is a 1st and 10. There's an Oliver in there. The Raiders, by the way, just put in another linebacker. Nothing to take the place of Tuck in terms of a lineman. Just put in another linebacker. That was a gain of 2 right there on 1st and 10 by 5'6" Brandon Oliver. It'll be 2nd down.
And they finally got the running game going last week. They rushed for 162 yards against the top-ranked run defense of the Jets. But they've had a lot of negative runs. And I think part of it has to do with the changes at center. They had 3 different centers. No other team in the league has started 3 different centers.
Second down and 8. It's Oliver again. Grabbed by Woodson, who comes up in the box, makes the stop, gain of 5 up to the 48-yard line. Let's get out of the sideline and Scott Kaplan.
Kevin, Justin Tuck came off the field and working on his left knee. Now he's got his shoe off and they're putting a wrap around his knee. He looks like he wants to get back in, but he's working himself on the inner part of his left knee. Trainers are working on him now, Kevin.
Scotty, it's 3rd down and 3. Brown is in. Royal is the 3rd receiver. 5 in the Raiders secondary. Brown the block. Rivers has got time. Ornberger had a nice block, and then with a flag thrown at the 32 with a Floyd reception is caught. He was doubled and cloaked with defense and picks up 20. Like I said, the flag is down. What a catch by Malcolm Floyd.
Defense number 38. His penalties declined. The result of the play, 1st down.
Well, Philip Rivers going after the rookie cornerback. You look, TJ Carey. He never finds the ball. Look, he's got his back to the quarterback. He never locates the ball in the air, and that's, guys panic. You've got to be able to turn your head around and still keep a presence with the receiver, but you've got to be able to locate the ball in the air.
There go the flags. Look like maybe there's no time left on the play
12
clock.
players participating on defense. 5-yard penalty remains first down.
Problem with personnel. Carey was out there, a rookie, when he shouldn't have been. Getting back to Floyd one quick second. He picks up 20 right there. 43rd consecutive catch on third down to get a first down and a mark in a stretch that goes back to 2009 for San Diego.
Well, it reminds us of we did Reggie Wayne last week. It's very similar. I mean, production. You look at how good he has been on third downs.
Who's number one in the NFL is Malcolm Floyd in yards per reception, over 21 yards per catch. It is 1st and 5. Rivers to Green, and they fight for it with Young in the secondary. Knocks it away. That's a tough chore. Young against Green, 2nd down and 5.
You get so caught up with Antonio Gates that you forget about the fact that the Chargers have another really good tight end in Ladarius Green, who has size and the ability to get down the field. Osama Young and these safeties of the Raiders are going to have their hands full. They do a good job taking shots down the field with those tight ends.
It's a 2nd down and 5. Either way to Oliver. Slippery and down to the 23. And brought down by Brown. He picks up 4 and mark him at the 23-yard line of the Raiders.
Well, when talking to the coaching staff of the Chargers last night, they said they knew right away that it wasn't too big for a guy like Brandon Oliver. And I loved what Mike McCoy, their head coach, said last night. He said he does everything full speed. Even when they have a walkthrough period, he's going full speed. He's got to tell him to slow down. It's a walkthrough period. But that's what I like about young players. Guys that love football, that love competing, and they've got one in Brandon Oliver.
It was interesting. Rivers told us last night that Darren Sproles, who used to wear number 43, texted Rivers last week and says, hey, I like that number 43 on your team.
Guy looks good.
I can see why, representing the number well. Our first quarter has come to a close. Both quarterbacks with touchdown passes. Start the second quarter with San Diego facing a 3rd and 1. But look at those numbers and what's happened so far to each team in the second quarter.
Yeah, this is where the games have gotten away from the Raiders. They can't afford to take a nap in the second quarter.
And prying his way for a first down as Oliver picks up 4 on 3rd and 1. Flag is down. He worked his way to the 20. Brought down on the play by Mack, the rookie, as they talk it over some more. A lot of depth in that running back core for San Diego. We told you that Ryan Matthews is out. Donald Brown is out with a concussion.
Offside. Defensive right tackle in the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
And Oliver, the 3rd guy, is in there as a rookie free agent getting the start.
When you look at how talented they are at the running back position, as you point out, Kevin, they're beat up right now, but they've had some young players step up. We talked about Brandon Oliver. They re-signed Ronnie Brown, who is very familiar, having played in San Diego back in 2012 and 2013. But they're going to rely on the rookie for most of the day.
It is a 1st and 10. With Woodson and Moore making a stop on the running back Oliver. He gets 4 just inside the 15. By the way, that was the second 3rd down penalty on the Raider defense, which gave a first down again to San Diego.
Well, they can't afford the self-inflicted wounds today against a very good Chargers team. It's the penalties, it's the missed assignments, the turnovers that have really hurt the Raiders through the first month of the season.
5 in the secondary with a couple of tight ends. 2nd down and 6. And down to about the 8-yard line goes Oliver once again. He was hit by Moore. It is a gain of 5 and very close to a San Diego first down.
You look at Brandon Oliver. He's 5'8". He's about 205 pounds.
I had 5'6". Where'd you get 5'8"? I had 5'6".
I'm looking at right on my. What's that say? 5'8"?
He's 5'6".
You're right. He is 5'6". So that's a typo.
Knock that away.
My point is, he's a smaller back, but he doesn't play like a smaller back. You watch him; he's running over safeties and linebackers. He's always falling forward.
The guy that size, that he can thrive in the NFL.
And he's got a suddenness to him. And as I said before, he doesn't waste a lot of movement. He is heading right downhill, and he's going to run right at you. And he's not afraid to lower the boom.
So a timeout was just taken by San Diego, and Rivers will go to the sideline and talk with head coach Mike McCoy. Thursday, football starts here when Rex Ryan's Jets take on Tom Brady and the rival Patriots. It's another big-time matchup in prime time on CBS and NFL Network. These division games can be exciting. We saw one last Thursday. This one could be the same with the Jets and New England.
Patriots win today. Jets lose to Denver. Again, we're talking about two teams that don't really like each other. That's going to be a good one for Jim Nantz and Phil Simms.
Well, here's a red zone possession for San Diego. 3rd down and 1. They've scored in every one. 12 straight going back to last year. And here is a handoff, which goes to Brown, who was re-signed Tuesday. He had a choice of either going to Denver or San Diego. He chose his old Charger team, who he spent the last 2 years with. Let's see if they've got the first here or not. Spot will tell us. I think they've got it. By the length of a foot, yep, they do.
Well, the fortunate Ornberger gets pushed back into the backfield, and he's got to play well inside. I think that's where you attack. If you're the Raiders, you've got to attack inside. I mentioned it earlier, the Chargers are down to the 3rd center. Defensive line has to win inside for the Raiders.
Nickel secondary, 1st and goal for San Diego. Rivers. That was dropped by Gates at the goal. Big time hit inside that goal line made by T.J. Carey, who had a pick the last game this team played in London against Miami.
Well, the Raiders are excited about T.J. Carey. I mean, they've got some young players, some rookies that they really like. Carey, one of them. He can also double as a return man. Mack. Got a couple players on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, they're excited about Carr and
against Miami.
Well, the Raiders are excited about T.J. Carey. I mean, they've got some young players, some rookies that they really like. Carey, one of them. He can also double as a return man. Mack. Got a couple players on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, they're excited about Carr and Gabe Jackson, their 3rd round pick. They think the future is bright, but these young players need to grow up in a hurry.
It's 2nd down and goal. Draw play. Oliver. And he is whacked as he tried to move it. He got by Woodley, and then he was driven back. Some nice tackling there, and namely by Carlos Rogers. It is a 3-yard pick near the 5. So now they bring in another defensive back, Brandon Ross. We're going to put 6 in the secondary, the Raiders will. It's 3rd and goal at the 5.
We've got Gates over here by himself. We've got a lot of black and silver helmets over there to cover him.
Inside, that is a Malcolm Floyd touchdown. The 2nd touchdown pass today for Philip Rivers, and Floyd brings it in. 3rd touchdown reception of the season.
When you double Gates down here in the red zone, and somebody else is going to get the one-on-one coverage. You see all the attention directed at Antonio Gates. Malcolm Floyd gets to work in the middle of the field on a linebacker.
So on a 3rd down, they get a touchdown pass from quarterback Philip Rivers, who now is up to 14 on the season. Here's the Novak extra point. 12 to play in the half, and there she goes. It's 14-7. The San Diego Chargers, winners of 4 consecutive games and playing on the road in Oakland today. Of course, Malcolm Floyd has played in the NFL for 9 years. He faces his Raider team twice a year, but always in Oakland. You certainly see what he's done the last 3 games here against the Raider D.
Big plays down the field and yards after the catch. That's what concerns you with a receiver like Malcolm Floyd.
The Novak kickoff. And Carey's going to bring it out 2 yards into the end zone. And swerves inside into a pile and gets it out near the 23, 24-yard line. On a return of 25. The Blue Angels over the Bay. Tomorrow on CBS, no matter the odds, these geniuses can always depend on each other. Don't miss the new hit drama Scorpion. It's tomorrow at 9, 8 Central after The Big Bang Theory. only CBS with Rich Gannon. And on our sideline today, Scott Kaplan, Kevin Harlan, the Golden Gate Bridge in the background. And the
Alamo.
wonderful acrobatic group, the Blue Angels. On Fleet Week here in San Francisco. 1st and 10. This goes off to Marcel Reese, who is brought down by Gatchkar. It is a gain of 2, and he's up to the 26-yard line.
Well, you look at the first 3 possessions. I mean, that's the way they had to start. 3 plays, 80 yards, big 77-yard touchdown throw from Carr to Holmes, and of course, those punts. It's about consistency with this offense. And you got to play better around the young quarterback. You need more from their skill players, especially at tight end and wide receiver.
Chargers stay in their base. Here's a 2nd down and 2. Make it 8.
Oh, you got him.
He sure does, and it was dropped. Michael Rivera, who was covered on the play in the secondary by Jason Verrett. It'll be 3rd and 8. 3 drops by the Raiders already.
Well, it's a minus for both players involved. Get and run it. You look at the quarterback. He's got to do a better job, Kevin, getting it on his front shoulder, not throwing it behind the tight end. And of course, if you're Rivera, you've got to make that catch.
That's a catchable ball.
Absolutely. But again, if I'm coaching the quarterback, get it on his front shoulder, get him into the transition to run. Minus accuracy throwing, minus play by the tight end.
And here goes McFadden with Jackson offering a block. He's brought down by Gilchrist. He has the 1st down. Swerving to the 38. Picks up 12 on 3rd and 8 for the Raiders.
Well, there's no question that McFadden can still get it done. The recurring injury issues have slowed him the last 2 years. He's averaging just 3.3 a carry over the last 2 seasons, 3.4 this season, but he hasn't had enough touches. That's the problem with this Raiders offense. They've been behind in a lot of games, and the rushing attempts are way down.
Timeout taken by San Diego. Had some personnel issues out there, and so they slow things up. We've got 10:24 to go. We've had a touchdown pass of 77 yards by Carr of the Raiders. We've had 2 touchdown passes by Rivers of 29 and 5 yards. I can only imagine the things that a young rookie has got to process. All the things that he hears in his helmet with the radio and things he sees in front of him defensively.
Well, it's been baptism by fire for Derek Carr, and he said his NFL moment came last week when they fired his head coach after 4 games. The key for him, Kevin, is he can't panic. There are going to be some rough seas. When everything around you is in chaos, he has to be the hand that steadies the ship and steers the ship. And that's his job, and that's what he's learning to do with the Raiders.
Rich, when he came in our meeting room on Friday, he didn't seem like a guy that had a lot of gumption or agitating kind of guy to kind of get other guys to move along, and that may be an issue.
Well, he's going to have to learn. I think that he's going to have to get on the older guys and get more from those players.
Right through the hands of another receiver, Andre Holmes. That's incomplete. These guys are going to start catching the ball. I mean, as a quarterback, that's got to be incredibly frustrating.
Well, I think it's been frustrating for the coaching staff as well, not just the young quarterback, Kevin. You look at the Raiders, and they were very aggressive in free agency. And, they need some of the players that they went out and acquired on both sides of the ball to play better. Some of those guys have underperformed.
4 drops now by the Raiders. 2nd down and 10. Good time for Carr. On the money. This one is hauled in by Jones. He was working on Flowers. He's down to the 45-yard line of San Diego. A 17-yard throw and catch and a 1st down for Oakland.
Well, I like the fact that they're going to move the quarterback, and what you'll see is these crossing routes, but he's going to come up and run the comeback, and they get the quarterback outside the pocket. And when he's able to set his feet, boy, he can really crank it.
Wednesday.
1st and 10.
53 is mine. 53. 180. What is it? Hot.
It's McFadden again. Look at him grind his way for good yardage. Brought down by Butler about the 39-yard line. Here's a guy that Liz Frank a couple years ago, and that is a very tough, as he picks up 6. That is a very tough injury to come back from.
Well, you look at, it's not just McFadden, but MJD had one.
Oh, sure.
And I think It's tough, and it's sometimes you don't see the explosiveness from these backs. It's a tough injury to come back from. We got to get that guy going a little bit. MJD, I think he still has something left in the tank.
Good.
He hasn't had a lot of opportunities. Just 11 carries coming into today's game.
Tango.
Into a nickel secondary, second down and 4. Eyes grabbed this time and brought down. Looked like Reyes. Yep, he did. Coming right through, making the stop, throwing him for a loss of 3 back to the 42.
Well, this is what you got to learn as a young quarterback. You're going to see Weddle. He's going to come right off the line of scrimmage. He's not blocked. He is a free rusher. And so now the back has to deal with him. You see Reese, he's trying to get over there. He knows that that's not his responsibility, and that's a very difficult block. When you have a safety like Weddle that lines up on the line of scrimmage, you have to have the ability to change the play.
Raiders a 3rd and 7. They're number 32 in offense, number 32 in rushing in the NFL. From the Charger 42 into the nickel. Carr looking for Holmes. That's a great catch. He beat Verrett, working on the near side. Adai was defending 2. Down to the 12. 29-yard pickup. First down, Raiders.
Well, I'll tell you, Derek Carr has been impressive, Kevin. When the protection's good, he can be deadly. He throws the deep ball really nice. And he gives these receivers a chance to make a play. He's done a nice job reading the coverage and recognizing pressure and getting the ball out.
Holmes has taken the place of the injured Rod Streeter. First down and 10, McFadden. Blocked by Olawale. Out of bounds about the 11. Verrett forces him and ushers him to the side and a gain of a yard.
Well, when Carr has the ability to square his shoulders, he can deliver it with velocity and accuracy. And that's the thing that Greg Olsen and Tony Sparano told us on Friday when we visited with the coaching staff. They feel that they really believe that they hit on the quarterback. Now they've got to get some players around him. And that's going to be the key moving forward.
Hey, 59! Hey, gap!
With 5 defensive backs, Carr looks over the nickel, second down and 9. Fake to McFadden, buying him some time. Nice defensive play by Brandon Flowers. A Pro Bowler a season ago with the Chiefs, and he knocks it away, bringing up 3rd and 9.
Well, he actually starts to his left, and he's going to work all the way back across the field. And he's a little late. And we always say if you wait, you're late. Receiver almost ran out of the back of the end zone. Bryce Butler was up against the end line. Got to get that one up and down quicker.
Nothing to the tight ends yet for the Raiders. 3rd down and 9. Whoops. Freeney. Was he induced? Penn was over there.
And they always point, don't they?
Yeah, they always.
That veteran guy, it's just, hey, it's him. No, it's you. No, I didn't do it. You did it.
On infraction, defense, number 19. 5-yard penalty remains 3rd down.
That's Dwight Freeney, a 13-year veteran who has found the fountain of youth in San Diego.
Well, he's just trying to get a little jump. He's watching the ball. He can't help himself. He wants to get a piece of this young quarterback. Oops. I didn't do it. Well, he's a great one, though. But all those years in Indianapolis, he's healthy. Wasn't healthy, obviously had the injury a year ago.
56.
He's looked good the last couple weeks.
5 in the secondary, 11th play of the Raider drive. 3rd and 4. Carr with time. That is a touchdown. James Jones. A 6-yard laser thrown by rookie quarterback Derek Carr.
Well, Jones comes in motion. They have the 2 crossing routes that go in front of him, and that opens up the hole in the coverage for James Jones. I like how Carr throws this one low and away to protect the receiver.
Jones with his 3rd touchdown reception this season. The Janikowski extra point ties the game with 7.5 to play in the first half from the Bay Area. Each quarterback has thrown 2 touchdown passes today. The rookie Carr to the veteran Jones for the tie.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. Aflac. Ask about it at work. And by Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side.
So Derek Carr just threw a 6-yard touchdown pass to Jones, his second of the day, and he's not even 100%.
No, he has the high ankle and that MCL sprain that he suffered against the Dolphins in London 2 weeks ago. And we watched him practice on Friday. I didn't think he was 100%, but he has shown great toughness through the first quarter and a half.
How about the Raiders? They haven't scored more than 14 points in any game this season. They've got 14 in the first half. We've had 4 touchdown passes, 2 each way. Rich, this is a surprising start, I think, for many, including yourself, for the Raiders.
Yeah, it is, Kevin, but they had to come out and play well early. I think that this is a team that has struggled. They went through a coaching change. You know, Tony Sparano says motivation is simple. You eliminate the players who aren't motivated. You play the players that want to play, and I think we're seeing good effort, good energy from this Raiders team on both sides of the ball. It's going to be important early.
But you expected this kind of early game momentum and emotion from the Raiders.
Absolutely. I thought it was important for them to come out and really take control of this game. And I knew that San Diego was going to have to weather the storm early because you're going to get the best that the Raiders had to offer early in this game. What you've got to do is you got to discourage them. You got to get up on them, and that's going to be hard for San Diego.
After the kickoff, which went out of the end zone, there's a first down pass intended for Allen. First time they've thrown to him today, with the coverage on the play in the secondary by Terrell Brown. He's playing with a bad thumb, which he hurt in practice on Friday.
And Kevin, the thing you have to guard against if you're the Chargers, you feel you're the better team. You've got the better personnel. You get the better record. You've won 4 straight. The Raiders have lost 4 straight. You can't come in here thinking it's going to be over at halftime. This is a divisional game. These are teams that are familiar with one another, and the Raiders have a lot to play for as they just got done firing their coach.
With a second down and 10, it's Oliver with a block from Green, and he wheels his way to the 25. Brought down by Moore. Gain of 5. Let's take you to New York and James Brown.
An opportunity for Cincy to win it, Coach.
Yeah, the last play of overtime, a 36-yard field goal by Mike Nugent is missed. And it ends in a tie, 37-37. The streak of 11 consecutive regular season home games comes to an end.
Back to Kevin Harlan.
How about that?
And kickers aren't important. Special teams, every play in special teams is the most important because it's either field position or points.
Lonnie Brown is in, 6 in the secondary, 3rd down and 4 for Rivers. Blocked by Dunlap, he goes up the middle, he's got to get to the 30, and he goes right into the grasp of Carey to the 34. He picks up 8. Rivers picks up 8 in the first down for San Diego.
This is why you love to have a quarterback that's 6'5" and 230 pounds and strong. You see, he puts 2 hands on the ball, he protects it, he steps up. We don't see him scramble a lot. He usually steps up and resets himself and throws it.
Chris Watt, a rookie from Notre Dame, continues to play the right guard. They began with Johnny Troutman. Last couple series, it's been Watt, 1st and 10. More work for the running back out of the University of Buffalo, Brandon Oliver, smothered by rookie Justin Ellis. It is a gain of 2 to the 36.
Well, they like Ellis. They like Mack. They've got some couple rookies that have played well in the middle of that defense. And this has to be their football team. You come in as a rookie, you don't want to step on anybody's toes. The young guys have to take control of the room. That's going to be important for the Raiders moving forward.
This is 2nd down and 8 and into the nickel. Phillip Rivers. Blocked by Fluker. Going deep and looking for Allen, and it was almost picked off by Carey. Incomplete inside the 25. Make it 3rd and 8 for San Diego.
This is terrific coverage by the rookie T.J. Carey. They're going to try and double move him. And he is right in position, and watch him spin back around and locate the ball. Just has to squeeze it and make the catch. But he's right there with Keenan Allen.
San Diego on 3rd downs today, 5 of 6 here. They have a 3rd down and 8. Brown will go in motion and rejoin his quarterback. Five in the secondary. Here comes Mack. There goes the pass, incomplete for Floyd, with the coverage on the play by Brown. It's 4th down, and San Diego will punt.
Well, you get a good rush from the go ahead and roll. You get a good rush from the Raiders up front, and you force Rivers to get outside the pocket. Now, once you do, go ahead and freeze it. Where are you supposed to throw it? Covered, covered, covered. Good job down the field by that Oakland secondary. Rivers has nowhere to go with the football.
Here's the punt now coming up from the Chargers. Cyphers bobbled by the rookie. He still is crawling for the ball, and he reels it in at the 17-yard line with a hang time of 4.7 on a 47-yard punt. Raiders have come back to tie on a touchdown pass. They don't want this one to slip away.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bose, official sound of the NFL. And by Ameriprise Financial, more within reach.
Two touchdown passes apiece here. Before today's game, Christina Grimmie, whose mother is battling breast cancer for the 3rd time, sang our national anthem. She was accompanied by, on the field, 250 breast cancer awareness participants in pink, each holding a balloon with a message on it. Moving pregame ceremony here in the Bay Area. 3 timeouts for Carr, under 5 to go in the first half. Going deep for Rivera. Another great knockaway. The second today by Brandon Flowers in the Chargers secondary.
Well, I like the fact that the Raiders are throwing the ball down the field some. You know, not very many explosive plays the first month of the season, but they're giving the young quarterback a chance to take some shots. You know, they've had only 8 plays of 20 yards or more coming into today's game. That's the fewest in the league. Got to make this secondary of San Diego play.
Jones-Drew is in, and Butler is one of the receivers. 1 of 3 for Carr. 2nd down and 10. Maurice Jones-Drew bobbled the handoff and gets in the secondary. In fact, he was hit so hard, he lost his hat. But he held on to the ball. And the hit on the play came from Atachu, the rookie out of Georgia Tech. It is a gain of 9. He's up to the 26.
A bunch of people hit him here. I mean, it's just everybody just wow.
Ooh, and then at Addae.
Addae had a big hit there, knocks the helmet of MJD off.
Jaleel Addae.
This is an important 3rd down, Kevin. You don't want to give the ball back to Phillip Rivers in that offense. They've scored in the last 2 minutes of the first half in each of the last 4 games. Put a drive here and get some points before the half.
3rd and 1. Carr can get to the 27. He does, and he gets the 1st down. That was a good decision. Played every progression, picks up 2, moves the chains to the 28-yard line for the Oakland Raiders.
Well, he does have the ability. I mean, certainly you study him coming out of college. He's got some speed to elude the rush, and he can pull it down and make some plays with his legs.
Rich, I know a lot of times you're talking 3rd down with these offensive coordinators like Greg Olson for the Raiders. The Oakland Raiders today, 6 of 8 on 3rd down.
And usually it's the toughest situation for a young quarterback, Kevin, because 3rd down for defensive coordinators is like Christmas. You can do anything you want. And it makes it hard for a young player. He's done a nice job sitting in there making good decisions.
Jones-Drew on 1st and 10, drags a defender. Butler with him out to the 35. And he picks up 7. Good moves there by Maurice Jones-Drew. Coming up in the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cowher for the latest scores, news, and highlights, as well as a preview of Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. That's coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report 56. From our CBS studios in New York. Here's a 2nd down and 3 from the 34. McFadden back in. Screenplay from McFadden, who was trying to get a block across the way. It never really materialized. He's brought down by Butler. He's up to the 36, and the lead blocker was Austin Howard, who is playing guard for the first time in his career. Normally a tackle for the Jets last couple years as a starter, now a guard on the line here.
And he has struggled a little bit with that transition. So used to playing outside, now you're inside, and the angles are different, the communication is different, the responsibilities are different.
'56 Lucy.
56 Lucy.
Which is what?
Identifying the Mike as 56, what you're telling them. We're going to block Donald Butler with the line, and a Lucy call says we're going to slide left.
3rd and 2. Carr. He's got Jones, who beats Flowers, has the ball to the San Diego 46. 18-yard strike and a first down.
James Jones, Kevin, you and I watched him for years up in Green Bay make these catches from Aaron Rodgers. These back shoulder throws. Big, strong, physical receiver who played his college football right down the road.
James Jones already has a touchdown reception today. We're tied at 14. 2-minute warning. Raiders are playing well for the new coach.
There they are. And I just, he talked about the team being uncomfortable, and he said that's a good thing sometimes in football. You never want to be comfortable. You're trying to change the culture and the environment. The players are responding.
There's a 1st and 10 handoff, and it goes to McFadden. The tackle was made by Reyes. We're down to the 42. He picks up 4. 3 timeouts with which to work for Oakland.
Plenty of time for Derek Carr. Doesn't have to rush. He's got all 3 timeouts, as you point out, Kevin. And you don't want to give the ball back to Phillip Rivers in that offense.
That's right, yeah, they're controlling the clock, aren't they? 2nd down and 6. It's Holmes with a block from Jones. And a block from Penn. And then he was brought down by Gilchrist after he got those blocks and maneuvered around him. 12-yard gain to the 34 and a first down. So they've hit Jones for 18. And right there, a gain of 12 through the air. First down and 10. This is McFadden. And side swiped by Verrex. A gain of 4. And he takes it to the 30 of San Diego. And a flag has been thrown.
Offense, number 71. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
On Watson. It's his first start of the season today. In fact, he was marked in as the starter to begin the year, then lost the job to Barnes in training camp. And only playing today because Barnes is injured.
They've made a lot of changes to that offensive line. Donald Penn came over from Tampa. Gabe Jackson was drafted. Austin Howard from the Jets. Look, Watson is a guy that they really like. He was a 2nd-round pick a year ago, but he wasn't able to beat out Khalif Barnes in training camp.
Jones Drew is in. 3 wide. 1st and 20. We need the 24.
56, Ricky.
3 Oakland timeouts left. Carr to Jones Drew. Drew back by Gachkar, then was belted out of bounds down the near sideline by Torek Williams. It is a gain of 10 to the 34.
You know, Maurice Jones-Drew is still a difficult tackle. You see Gachkar, he's right there. He just slides, uses a little bit of a stiff arm.
And Janikowski can kick it from Carlsbad is ready to. That means a long way.
That is a long way.
2nd down and 10. Carr. Oh, nice stop and another drop and a flag. That's going to be on Jones, who is jousting with Brandon Flowers.
Yeah, it looked like he pushed off.
He sure did.
You can do that. You just can't extend your hands. They
Pass
see that
interference.
every time.
Offense, number 89. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Well, we've seen a bit of a rushing attack for the Raiders today, and that's helped their passing game, hasn't it, Rich?
It really has, and it's been by committee. You see MJD a little bit, McFadden. Marcel Reese has gotten some carries. There's no reason why they can't run the ball more effectively. That's going to be the key for them moving forward.
Lucy, Lucy!
56 yards on the ground in the first half here so far for the Raiders. There's a 2nd down and 20. Raiders have been penalized twice on this drive already. Carr calmly another drop. 5 drop balls, a couple by Holmes, incomplete. Now 3rd down and 20. Carr on 3rd down has been terrific this afternoon. 5 of 7 on 3rd down passing for the Raiders today.
Yeah, these drops will drive you crazy. I mean, they're demoralizing to the young quarterback.
Verrett was defending. They need a couple yards, Rich, to get in Janikowski range here.
They do. And, you know, even a check down or even a screen in this situation, Kevin, to pick up 10 or 12 yards to give themselves that opportunity.
6 defensive backs.
Quick screen.
Denarius Moore. He's elusive.
There it is.
And he is down to about the 35. He was hit by a couple, including Legit, who was back there and runs all over the field. He picks up 9. It's 4th down.
He sidearms this out to Denarius Moore. You see the Wisniewski get out in front of it, and the big tackle, Watson.
You got a timeout left. The clock continues to tick.
I'm surprised San Diego wouldn't take a timeout in this situation. We're talking about it. Now it's too late.
Raiders are coming off a bye, and they lost the last game. In fact, the Raiders have lost 10 consecutive games coming into this afternoon, going back to last year. Well, coming up in the Verizon Halftime Report, JV, Tony, Bart Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher with NFL scores, highlights, news, and a preview of Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. That's the Verizon Halftime Report from New York with a look at Sebastian Janikowski, who has only attempted 3 field goals all season.
Yeah, I had a chance to visit with him on Friday. He's one of the throwbacks. He actually was here when I was here, Kevin.
That is a long time ago. That's a long time.
He's 36 years old. He's been in the league 15 years, and he's become a great pro. The chance to really watch him develop. He always had that leg talent. He can kick it a mile.
He's kicked the second most 50-yard or more field goals in the NFL. This is from 53. And he does not get it. Wide left for Janikowski. We are at halftime. But this will catch some people by surprise. Mike McCoy's first place Chargers at 4-1 are tied with the winless Raiders at halftime. Rich Gannon, the Raiders have lost 10 consecutive games going back to last year. How can they hold on and win this game over a first place and very good San Diego team?
Kevin, 30 more minutes of inspired football. This is as good as I've seen the Raiders play, really on both sides of the ball, but especially on offense. I mean, they're averaging about 270 yards a game. They have almost 250 through the first 30 minutes. They're going to come out, continue to be aggressive, continue to take shots. But look at those numbers on 3rd down for the Raiders. 7 of 10. San Diego's been as efficient as well, but this is as good as I've seen this Oakland offense play through the first 5 weeks of the season.
We start the second half with Oliver going to a knee and leaving it in the end zone out to the 20-yard line. It'll be San Diego and their coach, Mike McCoy, with the 1st and 10 to Scott Kaplan on the sideline.
Well, Rich, you know, it was as if you were reading Mike McCoy's mind. I asked him about dialing up pressure on Derek Carr. He said, we've got to get off the field on 3rd down. He said, we're fine on 1st and 2nd. You got to get off on 3rd down. As for the offense, he said, we got to start quick and play our best half of football right here.
Well, Carr on 3rd down has been great. Rivers 6 of 12, 110 yards, a couple touchdowns. He's been sacked once. Gates, Rich, with only 1 catch so far.
He has been quiet. They need to get him going here in the second half.
It's a 1st and 10. No place to run, no place to hide. Rodgers was there with the stop along with Mack, and it's a loss of a yard by Brandon Oliver. And he goes back to the 19.
Well, I really like Mack. Very good closing speed and very active, and has that powerful upper body to rip through blocks. He's going to be a good one for a long time.
It's 2nd down and 11. Fluker a block at the right tackle. It overshoots Gates. Yeah, they sure are. And Osama Young was defending.
Well, you know, they look at the stats at halftime, and you always want to get your playmakers going. The thing I've always admired about Philip Rivers is that we talked about how good he is in the pocket, but his time clock is extremely fast in terms of the way he plays the game. He makes very quick decisions.
How good are the Chargers on 3rd down? They're amongst the best, Rich, in the NFL.
Yeah, they've been really good on 3rd down. 53%, 3rd best in the league. Big reason why is because there have been so many manageable situations on 3rd down. Even 3rd and long, they have been good.
3rd and 11 here. Brown is in. Rivers niftily moves up and has got the ball to his receiver for a 1st down, caught by Royal, drilled by Brandon Ross. It's a 20-yard pickup on 3rd and 11 to the 39.
It takes courage to go across the middle of the field and do this, especially if you're a little guy like Royal. That's a big hit by Ross. And you see Philip Rivers, he goes right down there to ask him if he's okay. He kind of hung him out there.
1st and 10. Ronnie Brown signed off the street this week because of all the injuries, and it is a gain of a yard with the tackle made by Antonio Smith. And he's out to the 40-yard line.
Well, they know they've got to get the running game cranked up. Last week was good, but prior to that, they have struggled a little bit. And a big reason why, as we've talked about, Kevin, is how many changes they've had, not only at the center position, but the running back position. When you sign a guy on Tuesday, Wednesday, he winds up playing for you on Sunday. It's never a good thing.
2nd down and 9. No Justin Tuck playing on that defense right now for the Raiders. Injured and out since the first half. Fluker holds him off again. That one was dropped across the way, going for Floyd in the coverage by T.J. Carey. To the sideline and Scott Kaplan.
Kevin, you mentioned Justin Tuck. It's his left knee. He's being listed as questionable. They tried to put a sleeve on it in the first half. Then they tried to wrap it with a brace. Every time he worked out of a three-point stance, he would come up and shake his head no. He's finally back on the sideline now, but not back in this game.
Sleeve, brace, Rich, it doesn't matter, huh?
Whatever it takes to get you back out there. I think he's starting to work towards the defensive coaches. He may try and go back in this game.
Into the 6 defensive backfield set. Rivers on 3rd and 9. And he's got his open receiver. This is the running back, Brown. Using all of his guile, he takes it down to the 36. He picks up 24, and he was brought down across the way by Usama Young in a 1st down.
Well, I love how Philip Rivers, he just keeps the play alive. He knows once he gets outside the pocket, this is not really where he makes his living, but we talk about the scramble drill and how receivers and backs continue to work to get open. Brown makes himself available on the boundary to Rivers.
Brown, a 10-year veteran, that comes in handy on plays like that, huh?
Yeah, those are the things you work on during the week.
Screen pass on 1st and 10. And again brought down. Woodson's got him that time. The rookie Brandon Oliver can't get anything, and so it's 2nd down and 10. You've mentioned a couple times about how uncomfortable Rivers may be outside the pocket, but how he's been forced that way, because usually he's shuffling up and getting in the pocket.
Right. He's a lot like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. They're not as comfortable outside the pocket. That's not where a lot of the big plays show up. Where they make their living is between the tackles, and this is where he is so efficient. His ability to step up with a sense of urgency, his ability to keep his eyes down the field when the rush is coming right at him, and have poise, and to sit in there with a tough jaw and make good, accurate throws.
Into the nickel, Rivers, 2nd down and 10. Good time. And on the money, he's got the tight end for a 2nd time. That is Green to the 21-yard line. Brought down by Terrell Brown. A gain of 15 and a 1st down for San Diego.
You know, I got a kick out of our conversation last night with offensive coordinator Frank Reich. He talked about the 3 characteristics that he really values in a quarterback: toughness, physical, and mental. Check that off for Rivers. Accuracy with every throw, whether it's short, intermediate, or deep. And he quickly processes information, the mental part of the game. That's why Rivers is one of the best in the business.
1st and 10, blocked by the tight end Phillips. And then Young tries to steer the rookie running back Oliver out of bounds, and a loss of about a yard on the play back to the 22. He also said that Rivers is good, as we see this meager 1-yard gain. He said Rivers is also good in tight areas. He's terrific in small spaces in that pocket.
Well, and that's why they have to create that cup and the protection around the quarterback. Solid inside, because that's where he operates from.
0-2-2 has come in on a 2nd down and 9. As a receiver. Into the nickel. Flag. And caught by Allen right in front of Brown to the 12. And he picks up 9. His first catch. But it's against the Chargers.
Remains 2nd down.
So it goes by Armberger. Hey, this is a sign. We just heard from Scotty Kaplan on the sideline, but this is Tuck back in for the first time since injured in the 1st half.
And they need some of these veteran free agents. These are the guys that they need more from the big knockers up front. Tuck, Smith, Woodley. They're all free agent signings. And this is where they need the production and the consistent play. Just 1 sack between Tuck and Woodley.
2nd and 19. They need the 11. Brown is in. They're going to push the receiver Allen out wider. Moving up. There's a flag underneath. Brown with a good beat on him there, the linebacker Miles Burris. It is a gain of 6 to the 25 and a flag, as we said.
Illegal use of the hands to the face. Offense number 77. 10-yard penalty, remains second down.
That's King Dunlap, who is the left tackle.
Yeah, and he's working against Tuck. I mean, you just watch. See, that's Fluker right there. I think they called it on the other side.
Called it on the other side. This is an offense which has lost Danny Woodhead, who is so important for their success. No Ryan Matthews today, no Donald Brown today. So they've got limited numbers at that back position. Now second down and 29 from the 41.
And no excuses. I mean, that's just the way it's the next man up philosophy for the Chargers. They've got to rely on some young players. Oops.
And oops is right. That is low for Allen with the coverage by Carey. Incomplete, 3rd and 29 coming up for San Diego.
I'll tell you, Carey's impressed me, Kevin, back there in the secondary. He's made some nice plays. He's right in position here to make a play on the ball. This may have been picked. Did he not run into the receiver?
How about a rookie playing with a guy like Charles Woodson, the lessons he can learn from a veteran like Woodson?
Well, it's important. And Jason Carver, the defensive coordinator, said one of the problems we've had is the communication. And it starts in the secondary. Woodson's a veteran guy. He says, I know what we're doing. I've seen it. He goes, I know you know, but the young guys don't know. You got to tell T.J. Carey. You got to tell some of these young players what to do.
6 in the secondary. Underneath they go. Allen on the move and hit on the play by veteran Carlos Rogers. It's only a gain of 5. And it's 4th and long for San Diego on their first possession of the second half.
Well, the penalty really hurts them. They get pushed back. They get a 3rd and long. They run the under route. Good job coming off by Carlos Rogers. You see the frustration from Phillip Rivers. Give me another mouthpiece. Just throw that one away. Oh. Well, they're going to take a shot from 54.
He hasn't missed since last November. He's at 28 consecutive field goals. Nick Novak. And timeout, Oakland. They're going to make Novak think about it. Timeout. Raiders took their first time out of the second half. Here is a 54-yard field goal try by Nick Novak, as we said, and you can see 28 consecutive field goals. Has not missed since last November. Should he make it a career long? No wind. And he's got the distance and drills it. 29 consecutive field goals for Nick Novak. A career-long 54-yarder. A hold, and it's on San Diego. Late flag and a hold. How about that? That changes everything.
Well, you got to hold somewhere at the top of the screen. Right there on the edge.
Rich, that's the 3rd penalty on this drive on San Diego. So now they're going to punt. So they take points off the board.
Costly mistake by the special teams unit of the Chargers. Can't do it.
To punt is Cyphers. Oh, a fake. It's Weddle, who goes down the side, and he looks for a Gira Tutu. Did he catch the ball? He did, but out of bounds. Yep, he was on the chalk. Weddle with the pass. He's the personal protector. Mike McCoy tried a sleight of hand. It didn't work. And now look where the Raiders will begin this drive, their first of the second half.
Well, I'm going to critique Eric Weddle. He's a great safety, but not a great quarterback. He throws this one. He's kind of fading away. He's a direct snap to Weddle. Watch as he gets it. He just runs to his right, and he fades right into the rush of the Raiders and throws this one out of bounds. No chance.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. Toyota Care. Scheduled maintenance, no cost. And by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss.
Aerial coverage of today's game provided by DirecTV. One of the most beautiful areas in the world, the Bay Area. Try to get some pictures of some water. 1st and 10. After the fake punt did not work for San Diego from the 46 for Carr. Oh, they get by Penn. Freeney had a hand on him. It's almost picked off by Butler. Incomplete. Looked like they might have been going for Andre Holmes at 2nd down and 10.
Well, this is scary. You're going to watch Derek Carr. He's going to start to his left, and he works back to his right, and then he does the Cardinal sin. He comes back late to his left. You can't do this. Once you start to your left and you start working back to the right, you've got to go through the entire progression. That was Slogo's seam. They ran the slant and go on the left. They're working to the seam. He's got to come all the way backside to the hitch.
Part of the player reasons this team is playing so well defensively. Brandon Flowers added to the secondary this year. As you can see, they are attending him.
It's been a great addition.
He's been terrific. He's got 2 interceptions. He's had some wonderful deflections today, breaking up passes.
And he's done a nice job in run support. Can't afford to lose him right now.
I'm not sure where he got hit.
They're already without Sharice Wright. You got Jason Ritt, the rookie, playing on the one side.
This is the number 3 defense, Rich, in the NFL. 2nd against the pass.
Yeah, and they've been just as much the story as Phillip Rivers. I mean, it's a big reason why they've won 4 straight. It's because of the play of their defense. They've done a much better job stopping the run.
Injury timeout, 8:30 in the 3rd. Week 6 continues with Sunday Night Football tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC. And tune in tomorrow for Monday Night Football on ESPN and Westwood One Radio. Well, Brandon Flowers walking off about as gingerly as an NFL player can walk off the field. And he is in pain. And I'm assuming done. So taking his place, Richard Marshall, a 9-year veteran in the secondary. Adai is back there too.
And if I was Greg Olson, I'd go right after Richard Marshall, one of these corners now. As I said, Kevin, they're without Sharice Wright and Brandon Flowers. Both are starters. This is an opportunity to take a shot down the field, maybe a double move.
McFadden in the backfield. 5 in the secondary for San Diego. It's McFadden. Oh, and he finds room, carving his way to the 48. Hit by Marshall, brought down by Butler. It's a gain of 6 on the play for the Raider running back. And a look at their first half resume.
Yeah, you know, it was impressive. I mean, they got off to the good start with the big play down the field to Holmes and struggled a little bit there, but then they kind of got their pants on straight and they go put together 2 pretty good drives. Penalty there pushed him back a little bit, and Seabass misses the kick before the half.
Can't move if his pants aren't on straight.
No, he can't. It's tough. Backwards, it's even more difficult.
3rd and long 3. Here's Carr. Oh, and he finds his receiver. Bryce Butler on the move and finds the end zone. What a play! Derek Carr has just thrown his 3rd touchdown pass today. And Bryce Butler, who played his college ball at San Diego State, racing 47 yards for the touchdown.
Well, you just watch him. He's working in the slot. He's just going to go over and back. He's got Gilchrist covering him. Starts him over, double move, then he puts his foot in the ground and runs a little option route and speeds back out of it. And Gilchrist simply can't catch Bryce Butler.
His first career touchdown, Janikowski. And Oakland has gone on top, scoring the most points in a game this season. 21-14 over the Chargers on a 47-yard touchdown pass. 1 of 3 the rookie quarterback has thrown today.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by T-Mobile. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Now that is a horse I can ride right there. Look at that. The Blue Angels on Fleet Week here in the Bay Area. The ensuing kickoff by Janikowski. After the Raiders went on top, and they're going to keep Oliver in the end zone. 3 touchdown passes today by Derek Carr.
Well, the rookie's been impressive, Kevin. Whether it's the short throws, the deep throws down the field. Holmes goes for 77 yards. His location on throws, his movement in the pocket, and he's just playing with a lot of confidence right now. Done a nice job leading this offense.
How about all set up by the, they took 3 points. The Chargers did off the board with a hold. They tried the fake punt. That was foiled. So there was good beginning field position at the 46-yard line for the Raiders to begin that last drive.
Chargers special teams have let them down here in the second half.
But who better to be at the controls if you're down on the road than Phillip Rivers?
He's as good as it gets in these situations.
Tuck is injured earlier, 1st and 10. And Oliver tries to winnow his way up to the 23. Finds a bit of room. Tuck had a hand on the tackle, and it's a gain of 3. Plenty of time left, as you see. We're just middle of the 3rd quarter. The Raiders have got 5 in their secondary, as they have had most of the day. That's basically their base defense.
They're going to do a pretty good job hanging with the Chargers and stopping the run on the early down. That's been the key for the Raiders.
It is on 2nd down and 7 at crossing pattern. This is Green, his 3rd catch today. Ushered out of bounds by Filimuatu. It is a 12-yard catch and run. He's up to the 35 and a 1st down.
And this is really where I think the Chargers have to attack in the middle of the field. Kevin, we talked about how banged up the Raiders are at the linebacker position. I think you look at whether it's Green or Gates, they'll be able to work in the middle of the field against these linebackers.
1st and 10. Oliver. He slips through the grasp of Woodson, then he was drilled in the backfield by Carey. He picks up 8. He's to the 43, to our sideline reporter and Scott Kaplan.
Well, Kevin, on the San Diego sideline, Brandon Flowers, like you said, gingerly walked off the field, but he came to the bench and they took a bag of ice and they put it what looks to be on the left groin. No report yet from the Chargers as to whether or not Flowers will be back, but ice on the left side of the groin for Brandon Flowers.
It looked painful. Thank you, Scott. 2nd and 1. Oliver. Filimuatu is once again in there with the stop. It is a gain of 3. He's up to the 48, and he's got the 1st down.
You'll see the Chargers make substitutions. Players come on and off the field. They have that little sugar huddle where Rivers makes the call. And one of the things I've been watching, Kevin, is the play clock. He takes them down inside 5 on a lot of these snaps. They're really good in time of possession, but he wants to make sure that everybody understands what they're supposed to do. And sometimes he's going to change the play. So he gives himself that flexibility there with the time. Maybe it's a protection, maybe it's a check. Phillip Rivers doesn't waste a lot of plays.
He changes it a lot. 1st and 10. Brown was in. Going deep for Floyd. Guarded by Woodson. And he's got the ball. What a catch by Malcolm Floyd. He's inside the 10. One of the best ever to play. Woodson was right there. A 44-yard strike. It's 1st and goal.
My goodness, if you give Phillip Rivers this kind of time, he's gonna make you pay for it. Charles Woodson's usually really good at playing the ball in the air. He knows he's a little bit behind. And the problem that you have with a receiver like Malcolm Floyd, he's so tall. He's 6'5". He has those long arms and that leaping ability to go up and make the difficult catch.
And like we said, leads the NFL in yards per catch at over 21 yards. He picks up 44 there. 1st and goal at the 9. Oliver is in. The delayed call. And taken down, a gain of a yard. He's down to the 8.
Well, you'll see a lot of times Rivers now, he's been watching the play clock, and when he needs the ball, the center can't see the play clock. Look at him clap his hands. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And that's the way, it gets so loud in that part of the end zone that you've got to be able to clap. You've got to be able to get the attention of Rich Ohrnberger, your center.
Second and goal at the 7 as Juratutu is in. Royal is out right now, a rib injury, questionable return. Rivers, Oliver brought down by Burris at about the 1. He slides in there and picks up 6 on that play.
Again, attacking in the middle of the field. This time they do it with a back on a little angle route. You see the substitutions. Frank Reich has been doing a terrific job changing up the personnel, really forcing the Raiders to make their adjustments as you see a number of players come in for the Oakland Raiders.
4 tight ends, one of which is serving as a fullback. Third and goal at the 1. Gates to the bottom of your screen. It was deflected and on the ricochet, caught by Gates. Touchdown pass. Antonio Gates. The 66th time he and Rivers have connected.
Well, they shift him out, and he's just going to work on the safety, Usama Young, and he runs those routes like a wide receiver. It's a difficult person to cover when he's shifted out wide.
Gates has caught 93 touchdowns, 71 have been in the red zone. My goodness. 1-yard touchdown pass. Extra point is through. Another tie from the Bay Area. Antonio Gates, someday he will be in Canton. Right now, he's in the end zone. And he's just tied it on Phillip Rivers' 3rd touchdown pass today. We've been tied at 7, 14 and 21 each. Quarterback throwing 3 touchdown passes today. Gates just got one on a deflected ball by C.J. Wilson on that line, and he beat in the secondary for the Raiders. Defensive back Usama Young, the ensuing kickoff, and Carey brings it out with a seam and a couple missed tackles. Finally, Stuckey and then Marshall were the ones to get up on a 37-yard kickoff return. A good one for the Raider rookie. Next Sunday, the NFL serves up single-header action in one matchup. Bengals battling the Colts. Meanwhile, the Dolphins visit the Bears, and the Chiefs will challenge the Chargers. Check local listings beginning with JB, Tony, Bart, Coach, and Boomer on the NFL Today.
Well, you got to get a lot of credit to Tony Sparano, Kevin. He's done a really nice job in a difficult situation, getting this team to believe in themselves and prepared for a divisional game against the Chargers. This is as good as I've seen the Raiders play through 3 quarters.
They've lost 10 consecutive games going back to last year. This is McFadden on 1st and 10. Turns the corner. He was knocked out of bounds by Marcus Gilchrist. Nice block by Austin Howard. It is a 17-yard pickup and a first down to the 47-yard line of San Diego.
And this is what they've talked about. They have to become a better perimeter running team. They've run the ball so much between the tackles. McFadden's got that speed, but they've not been able to get him on the edge of the defense.
He's only averaging coming into the game 3.4, a career 4.2 average per carry. A good one right there. 1st and 10. Carr wanting to go deep, looking for Holmes, defended by Verrett. And he does not fall right.
He got pushed at the end.
So Flowers has got a groin injury, questionable return. Royal, the receiver, is out, questionable return with ribs.
He lands funny on that shoulder, maybe. That left shoulder.
His head bounced pretty good too, but you're right. You're right, Rich. He's holding that left hand, it looked like, or left arm. And there he goes. So Flowers is out.
Jeez.
And we knew it was a groin.
Wright's out. Flowers is out. Now the rookie's out. Jason Verrett. They're running out of corners in that secondary. And the Raiders keep taking shots down the field.
So now they bring in Chris Davis as a rookie free agent out of Auburn. He was inactive the first 3 games, played for the first time as an NFL player last week.
And I keep taking shots. Go after some of these corners.
2nd down and 10. See what he does. McFadden blocked by Howard and hit by Davis and gets as far as the 41. And finally brought down to by Legit. It is a gain of 6 with the flag.
Offense, number 89. 5-yard penalty.
James Jones.
Remains second down.
There's no reason for that. Away from the ball, you got to look in and watch the ball.
One of 2 winless teams in the NFL. Jacksonville again losing today, and the Raiders 0-4. Making a change at head coach. They fired Dennis Allen, who was 8-32. Take somebody off the staff. Tony Sparano. Second down and 15. Jones-Drew is in. It's a nice two-handed grab right there at the 47-yard line with the quick tackle made by Butler, and also hit from the secondary. That was James Jones, who picks up 6 on the play.
You know, if you watch the quarterback, Carr, Kevin, he doesn't hold the football. I mean, it comes out quick. A lot of quick rhythm throws. Very high percentage of short and intermediate throws. And that's a big reason why they haven't given up a lot of sacks. He gets rid of the ball quickly.
Nickel secondary. Marshall is in and Davis in for a couple of injured defensive backs for the Chargers. Flowers and Verrett. Carr whacked as he threw. Incomplete for Rivera. And he had gotten his guy, Atachu, beaten, the rookie linebacker who was tailing him. So it's incomplete, but boy, the pressure up the middle.
Yeah, they bring some pressure when they drop to the other side. Still a 5-man rush. He's got pressure right up the middle there, but he doesn't flinch. He sits in there, he holds it as long as he possibly can, and he gets it out. Doesn't take the sack.
Carr still has not been sacked today for the Raiders, Rich.
Yeah, as I said, Kevin, he's not holding it. It's coming out quick. He knows when they're short. It's a good sign. Understands situational football and gets rid of it quick.
With Royal out, Keenan Allen is back there to get this punt and lets it bounce and back at the 6. Then it's John Kondo, the long snapper, and down it goes. That's Marquette King, third-year player out of Fort Valley State, 36-yard punt. Well, tonight on 60 Minutes, meet the most wanted man in the world. He avoided arrest for years and spent millions on his escapes. See how he did it. 60 Minutes tonight, only CBS. With Rich Gannon, our sideline reporter today, Scott Kaplan, Kevin Harlan. In the Bay Area. Look at some of the numbers for some of the participants. Each quarterback has thrown 3 touchdown passes today.
And both the quarterbacks have played really well.
Rivers to Oliver. And a good hit right off the bat, and that was Moore, who comes through and showed a little bit more right there. Limits them to no game. They stay at the 10. With NFL Mobile, stream live local Sunday afternoon primetime games and NFL Red Zone right on your mobile device. Learn more at NFL.com/mobile.
It hasn't been easy for the Chargers. They've had some poor starting field position. They've had 7 possessions. Their average starting field position's been their own 17. They've had to go long ways to score points.
2nd and 10 into the nickel for Rivers. Underneath at about the 16-yard line with the tackle made by Burris. It was a grab by Lardarius Green. It's a 6-yard pickup, and he's at about the 16-yard line at about 3 yards shy of a first. Call it 4. 3rd and 4. Play clock is at 16. Big clock is at 11. 3rd and 4.
That is the end of the third quarter.
End of the third. 3 touchdown passes by Rivers. The winless Raiders have gotten 3 touchdown passes from their rookie quarterback at the end of 3. What a beautiful day. The contrails there you see of the Blue Angels. Rich, you knew that the Raiders were going to come out with some emotion today because they have a new head coach.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure, Kevin, whether they could sustain it for 60 minutes, and they've done just that. I mean, they're really playing hard on both sides of the ball.
It's 3rd and 4. This is the first play of the 4th quarter. Rivers looks into the dime. Good block by Dunlap. Rivers overshoots his receiver Gates. The coverage by Woodson. The pocket was kind of closing in, but still some room. It's 4th down. They're going to punt the ball.
Hey, he ran all around and been so good on 3rd down, Rivers. Good job there by the Raiders, just holding on the back end.
Well, Mike Cyphers will now come out and punt. He has had, during his career, 3 punts blocked by the Raiders. Not this one, though. Gets it high. Carey underneath it. Slips out of the grasp of Stuckey. Still on his feet. And the slippery Carey runs for 11 after the 45-yard punt, which had 4-6 hang time on it. Coming up after the game, time permitting, the Subway postgame show. Join JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cowher for the latest NFL scores, news, and highlights. That's all coming up on the Subway postgame show from our CBS studios in New York. There go the Blue Angels again. Never gets old, does it, huh?
No, some of the best pilots in all the world right there. You know, we were talking about field position, Kevin, and the Chargers have been backed up. Their average start's been the 17-yard line. The Raiders have had great field position, especially here in the second half.
With McFadden in the backfield, 1st and 10. Across the middle, Marcel Reese. Stiff arming his way into Weddle. Picks up a 1st down. The catch and run. Good for 11 to the 39 of San Diego.
I've always liked Marcel Reese because I think he does a lot of things well. He can block, he can run. He's good out of the backfield catching the football.
How about that? No points allowed by this terrific number 3 ranked NFL defense of San Diego in the 4th. The last 4 games. Carr with the 1st and 10. He's hit 7 different receivers today for the Raiders.
Done a really good job with ball distribution. Now you see him here changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Impressive for a rookie.
Carr, Olawale, grabbed by Butler, and finished off on the play by Gachkar. It's a gain of 4, and he's down to the 35. Jameis Olawale from North Texas.
Well, the thing that he's done a good job of, Kevin, is he hasn't made the big mistake. You know, this is not a game without errors, but he has to learn to keep them to a minimum, and he's done that. And he's making good decisions. We talked about getting the ball out fast. And Greg Olsen has done a nice job with the young quarterback. You know, it's not easy. You look at Olsen, had 2 first-timers last year with Pryor and McGloin, and then again this year, he's got another first-timer rookie, Derek Carr.
McFadden on 2nd and 6. Oh, he busts free. Oh, he was hit by Marshall. And Marshall is down, and McFadden corkscrews his way for 12 to the 22 at San Diego on a 1st down.
Just a little toss to McFadden, real simple. And this is what I like, very decisive. He sees the backside cut, and he takes it. He's up on the 2nd level. If he can stay healthy, he can be productive. That's been the big issue with McFadden. He's not been able to stay on the field because of injuries.
Raiders have lost 10 consecutive games and one of 2 winless teams this season in the league. Against first place San Diego, 1st and 10, Carr, and looking for Butler, who is covered well by Verrett. 1st round pick out of TCU. Flag is down at the 30-yard line. It's
illegal
on the
use of the
Raiders.
hands of the face, offense, number 66. 10-yard penalty, repeat, 1st down.
The rookie Gabe Jackson picks this one up.
When we talk about the illegal hands to the face, it's a penalty that is a point of emphasis in the offseason, along with illegal contact penalties and defensive holding. We've seen illegal contact quadruple. We've seen defensive holding double since last season. Anytime you make something a point of emphasis for the officials, they're going to be looking for it. And they're more apt to call it.
Jones-Drew is in the backfield, 1st down and 20. Jones-Drew. A dive tripped him up, and then he was finished off by Butler at the 22-yard line of San Diego. He runs for 10 for the Raiders. On this drive, they've gotten a catch and run of 11 from Reese. 12-yard run by McFadden, 10-yard run by Drew. And on the ground, the Raiders today rushing have been very tough, 101 yards.
You look at these smaller backs, Brandon Oliver for San Diego and Maurice Jones-Drew. Drew's only 5'7". Sometimes, Kevin, you lose the little back behind the big offensive line. You get these guards and tackles pulling, you can't find them.
True. Second down and 10 with a whistle and a flag. Too many men.
Defense, 12 men on the field. 5-yard penalty remains. Second down.
They had an extra defensive back, and that was Marshall.
Yeah, you're going to see him. He's trying to get off the field right there.
A dive. Excuse me. Marshall walked off this, but it was a dive.
When he eases up right there at the end, he must have heard the whistle.
There's been no Flowers. He's out because of a groin injury. Verrett has returned. Second down and 5 for the Oakland Raiders.
Sometimes as a quarterback, you just see a size matchup that you like.
4 in the secondary.
Up top.
McFadden. He'll find his way as he slithers down to about the 10. A couple guys bring him down after a gain of 7. He's running about as well as he's run certainly this season, maybe into last. Darren McFadden.
Well, this Raiders offensive line, they're starting to come off the ball. You know, they're starting to knock you back off the ball, and that's something they didn't do very well the first couple games of the season. You almost got the sense when they made the change to Sperano, an offensive line coach, there'd be more of an emphasis on running the football.
McFadden, 12 carries and 74 yards, a season high. First and goal at the 10. McFadden, great cut to the 5. Diving there, Weddle among a couple, bringing him down along with the die, and a gain of 5 for Darren McFadden.
Heavy percentage of runs inside the tackles.
No huddle here, Rich. Well, they were going to try it at least. Now they'll pause.
Again, San Diego having a difficult time making substitutions.
Play clock at 18, second and goal at the 6.
Defensive coordinators hate the no huddle. They want to sit over there. They want to look at their script. They want to be able to make substitutions.
Sure.
They want to think about it. And when you jump the ball and you play that up-tempo style, it makes it difficult for a defensive coordinator like John Pagano.
They got down to 4 seconds on the play clock, and the rookie Carr wisely calls a timeout, but that means just 1 remaining for the Raiders. 3 touchdown passes today by Carr. 77 yards, 6 yards, and 47 yards. Thursday football starts here when Rex Ryan's Jets take on Tom Brady and the rival Patriots. Another big-time matchup in prime time on CBS and NFL Network.
This is a bit of a mismatch when you look at these stats. The guy on the left hasn't figured out how to take care of the football.
Or tell time.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
That was wrong. That's a low blow.
I know.
But the problem is, if you don't figure it out, you put yourself at risk, you put the offensive coordinator at risk, you put the team at risk, and you put Rex Ryan at risk. They're going to get rid of those guys if this guy keeps turning the football over. He's a turnover machine. The guy on the other side, he doesn't turn it over. Brady, the best in the business.
Second and goal at the 6. Raiders just took their second timeout. Carr. Caught for the touchdown! Andre Holmes, a 6-yard grab. And Carr has thrown his 4th touchdown today.
Well, they fake it, and then Carr's going to come out on the bootleg, and you're going to see the receivers coming across the field. But what I like about this is that it's not open initially, but he doesn't give up on the play. He just keeps working, he keeps moving, and he gives his receiver, Andre Holmes, a chance in the back of the end zone.
Holmes caught one earlier for 77 yards, grabs a 6-yarder right here. These are the first 2 touchdown receptions of his short 3-year career. A 7-play, 50-yard drive, and the Raiders have gone on top. We've been tied at 7, 14, and 21, and the Raiders just broke it, and Janikowski will tack on another. 10 to play in regulation. Losers of 10 consecutive games. The Raiders lead first place San Diego You're watching the NFL on CBS. Our kickoff after the touchdown pass of 6 yards to Holmes. And this crowd, which has watched the team lose 10 consecutive games on it. One of 2 winless teams in the NFL. How about this rookie Carr?
Well, he's been really impressive. I mean, 4 touchdown passes and the big number, Kevin, no interceptions.
Now here come the San Diego Chargers in first place, winners of 4 consecutive games. But Rich, they're one of just a couple teams in the NFL that have not scored a touchdown in the 4th quarter this year. And then in San Francisco.
Playing with a lot of leads.
First and 10. Rivers into the nickel. Underneath, Antonio Gates chased by Burris. He'll dance with him. He'll get also hit on the play by Carlos Rogers. A catch and run of 16 and a first down to the 36.
You know, the Raiders have done a good job getting upfield and getting around Rivers, but they just don't have that dominant pass rusher right now. The one guy that can take over a game. They haven't had one in a while. Someone who can harass the quarterback and get you a dozen sacks or more. Tuck hasn't been that guy so far, or Woodley for the Raiders.
5 in the secondary, first and 10. Moves up nicely. Keenan Allen to the 46. And hit by Young, brought down there. 19-yard pickup and a first down for San Diego. These quarterbacks have been terrific.
It's been a slugfest. You know, I think Derek Carr is excited to play against a quarterback like Philip Rivers, and I think you take some pride in trying to go out and play better than the other statesmen. But Philip Rivers has been just as effective. He's got that ability to create just enough space in the pocket to find the throwing lane. We've seen that a bunch from him today against the Raiders.
Rivers with the first and 10 goes outside. It's caught by Floyd. He is out of bounds near the 32. Another first down. He was defended by Terrell Brown. 15-yard pickup.
Sometimes it just looks to me like Philip Rivers is playing pitch and catch. You know, he's just sitting back there. He's got time. It's effortless for this guy. And he's so accurate. I mean, that's the thing that's always been impressive to me about Philip Rivers.
Don't you think he's got his best collection of receivers and weapons around him, at least when the running backs are healthy, for sure?
Absolutely, and I think there's a couple things, Kevin.
First and 10 handoff here. No running room for the back, Oliver, and a gain of about a yard.
I think if you really go back and you study Rivers and those struggles that he had in 2011 and 2012, the offensive line was in disarray. They kept having injuries there. Protection wasn't good. And then A.J. Smith, they kept taking his best players away from him. They got rid of Vincent Jackson. They got rid of Darren Sproles. But now you've got Keenan Allen. You've got a healthy Malcolm Floyd. You've got the tight ends. You've got some backs. Ryan Matthews is coming off a big year a season ago. I think he feels this is probably about the best supporting cast that he has had in a while.
There's a second down and 9.
Screen.
And it's Oliver. He's got Watt ahead. He's getting some blocking, and he takes it down near the 10, maybe the 9. 20-yard catch and run by rookie free agent Brandon Oliver. First and goal to go, San Diego.
Rivers does a nice job looking to his right, even pumping to his right, and then Oliver just slips out. He starts on the right side, comes all the way across the formation. And again, you're always looking for creative ways to get your playmakers in space.
That's how he was last week against the Jets.
And he is dangerous. He's a tough tackle in the open field.
Rivers is at 10 of his last 11. From the Oakland 9, it's first and goal. Good block by Fluker. That overshoots the triple team Gates. All kinds of coverage. Had linebacker Burris. They had Young and others back there. Second down and goal.
Well, they're very aware of number 85 in the red zone, and the linebacker does a nice job there. Burris not going for the fake. Miles Burris does a nice job. It's good exercise, some good patience.
He's replacing the injured Nick Roach, who's out with a concussion that he had in preseason.
Well, they miss Roach. It's a huge loss.
2nd and goal at the 9. Shuffle pass, and slipping down was Oliver in a loss of 3. Back to about the 12. Tuck was there, and he does not look healthy.
No, he's struggling right now. At some point, you're hurting the team staying out there. You got to decide whether you can play at a high enough level to help your football team.
It's 3rd and goal at the 12. Brown is in. They go to the corner, and Gates knocked away. What a sensational defensive play by Terrell Brown.
Well, he tries to force this one into his tight end. He gets a little greedy here. Brown comes off. They've got a safety there, Young over the top. This is too tight for Phillip Rivers.
Here's a 30-yard field goal try by Novak. Hit one earlier, but there was a holding penalty. He hit a 54-yarder. He's hit 28 consecutive. A 30-yard field goal right here to creep closer. And he's got it. Well, they had it 1st and goal at the 9. They settle for 3. The Raider D does their job.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Outback Steakhouse. Outback, no rules, just right. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
Well, coming up after the game, time permitting, the Subway postgame show with JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cowher for the latest NFL scores and highlights. All coming up from New York on the Subway postgame show here on CBS. Let's go down to Scott Kaplan on our sideline.
Kevin, Derek Carr told us this week that Tony Sparano told him, this is your team. Forget about being a rookie and 4 games into your career. It's time to pick up some of these veteran players and take this team over. He's on the sidelines. He's bumping fists with the veterans on the defensive side. He's encouraging the fans to get into it. 4 touchdown passes. Derek Carr has achieved what his coach has wanted to thus far in this game. He has taken over this team, and he's growing up before our eyes.
That's a great point there, Scott. I just think it's a very natural thing for him. You know, some players, they were leaders in Pop Warner in high school and college, and that was Derek Carr. I think it's a very easy role for him. He's used to being the guy.
TJ Carey. A dive, jumps on his back, wrestles him down at the 25. 22-yard return. Here comes Carr. 4 touchdown passes, 4-point lead in the 4th. The rookie Carr with 4 touchdown passes at 5:45 in the 4th quarter clock. He's got 1 timeout, and he starts at his 25.
Well, this can be a defining drive for the Raiders early in the season, Kevin. I mean, you go down here, you take 4.5 minutes off the clock, you score a touchdown, the game's pretty much over. And that's going to be the mindset of Derek Carr in the Raider offense.
McFadden on 1st and 1. Reyes makes the stop. Gain of 2 to the 27.
Well, you look at the production today and the improvement. I mean, look at it. And against a top 5 defense and the #1 scoring defense in football. Look at the yards per play, 7.8. Some big plays from the Raiders offense.
But a defense of San Diego, Rich, which has only forced 1 3 and out this afternoon.
Yeah, they've struggled a little bit. And I think they're frustrated. They're not getting to Derek Carr. You know, it's tough to rush the quarterback for 60 minutes, especially one that gets it out so fast.
2nd down, 8. Watson at the block. Almost picked off. Almost grabbed by Jarrett Johnson. Just that close. 3rd and 8.
Well, that could have been a disaster. I mean, that's one you've got to throw away if you're Derek Carr. I mean, clearly it takes too long to develop. The Chargers aren't fooled. You got to throw that one right into the ground, right at the feet of Darren McFadden.
Carr has been great on 3rd down today.
Wow, he's been terrific. 7 of 10 on 3rd down. 6 have gone for 1st downs.
3rd and 8. They need the 35. comes the blitz. Carr throws over Weddle and incomplete. Weddle.
There's no one there.
Does it again, beard and all. And a flag. Did Weddle get him in the helmet?
Well, they're going to call intentional grounding.
Right. Right.
Intentional grounding, offense, number 4. This includes a loss of down. It'll be 4th down.
And only the second 3-and-out by the Raider offense today.
Well, the pressure was coming. It's coming. It was an internal pressure. They bring Weddle. He comes clean. Pretty good protection, but then you look where he throws it. There's no one in this area. That was the right call by the officials.
And they took less than a minute off the clock. So now here comes Marquette King to punt. And he needs a beauty here. Keenan Allen is back. Boyle is out with an injury. King back to the 31. 4-2 on the hang. Here comes Keenan Allen as he slides his way, getting one block after another. Davis gave him one, and he's inside the 40 of Oakland. What a return. 30-yard return after a 64-yard King punt.
Well, you could just see that coming. I mean, when he starts to the left, you could see a wall develop back to the right. He's able to change fields quickly, and he's got some green grass in front of him. Big return by Keenan Allen. The more you can do. Here's one of your best players. Was a sensational. He was a draft day steal. Think about this guy, 3rd round a year ago. Set team records in catches and receiving yards.
Rivers with a nice litany of game-winning drives. Begins at the 39 of Oakland. Hornberger with the snap. Underneath, Allen. He was hit by Rodgers and Russell down to about the 36, and he picks up 3 on 1st down.
Sometimes you got to sit. You know, you start working across the field, you've got to sit down versus zone coverage. You keep running, and you run yourself right into a big hit from the corner, Carlos Rodgers.
2nd down and 7. First play, San Diego.
Sit versus zone, run versus man. Learned that a long time ago, so you don't run into those head-on collisions.
Lesson well learned, huh?
That's right. See what's in front of you.
Right. 2nd and 7. Into the nickel. Dunlop a block. But here comes Mack, and there goes the 32-year-old Rivers. Stepping out of bounds, working around Rodgers, close to a 1st down as the Blue Angels fly overhead. He's down to about the 29-yard line of the Raiders. There they go.
I thought this was a no-fly zone today.
Oh, no. Not when Rich Gannon's in the house. It is a 1st down.
Well, you just see him. He's going to buy some time. And this isn't something we see too often, him decide to pull the ball down and run. A couple big scrambles today for the big man.
Rivers with 3 touchdown passes today. Number 1 in several power polls in the NFL, the San Diego Chargers. Coming off a shutout of the Jets. Coming in 4-1.
Delay game.
And atop the defense of San Diego. Here is a timeout. It's the first taken by the Chargers. Mike McCoy will talk things over with his quarterback. Down by 4 with under 4 to go.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon XLTE on America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE network. And by Subway Restaurants. Get to Subway for the Meatball Marinara, the $5 footlong of October.
Well, we've seen a lot of aerial displays inside this building today. 7 combined touchdown passes. Rivers with 3, Carr with 4. After the San Diego timeout, they've got 2 left. 1st and 10 at the 29 of Oakland. It's Oliver, who got a block from Green, gets a block from Floyd, and is brought down in the secondary by Carey after a gain of 12 to the 17 of 1st down for San Diego.
Well, when they take Antonio Gates out and they bring in Ladarius Green, there's a higher percentage of running. Gates isn't in there to block people in the running game. That's why they got this big guy in here.
Giratutu is the third receiver. 5 in the Oakland secondary, 1st and 10 for Rivers. Draw play. Oliver blocked by Green, and he pierces the 5 and drags a defender down. Well, it's about the 6-yard line. Looked like he was going to get by that. There was a lead block. He gains 10 on the play, and that's another first down.
Well, this is the very same play that Brandon Oliver scored on last week against the Jets. And it's the same play they just ran previously. Good coordinators like Frank Reich, they come right back to it. If you didn't stop it, we're going to come back and do it again.
Henrich obviously in 4-down territory here.
Yeah, the field goal doesn't do anything for him here.
3 tight ends, 1st and goal at the 7. Oliver slicing and down to the 1. They can't stop him. Boy, there was a nice block inside by Johnny Troutman. A gain of 6.
Look at the movement up front. Look at all those black jerseys get pushed back. And then you send in the little guy, Brandon Oliver. He comes up just a little bit short.
You said it earlier, you can't see him sometimes.
Yeah, you get lost. I mean, you know, he's talk about a guy that's 5'6". Hard to find him.
For the 2nd consecutive game, Oliver has run for over 100 yards. The Chargers on the move.
Yeah, back here in Oakland, and Tony Sparano trying to keep the momentum alive. And of course, you look at on the other side of it, Mike McCoy. He's trying to get out of here today with his 5th straight win.
2nd down, goal at the 1. Rivers, Brandon Oliver leaps and got it. That is a go-ahead touchdown for the San Diego Chargers. A 1-yard leap. And a 2-point lead, under 2 to play. What a drive. And on that drive, Oliver runs a 12 and 10, and he finishes the job.
And he leaves his feet to do it. Extends the ball over the goal line. Well, he's been impressive. A lot to like about Brandon Oliver. Not just in the running game, but the passing game as well.
Oh, it was blocked.
They had a flag before the.
They sure did.
Somebody might have come off early. That's how you block them. You jump the snap.
The game's first rushing touchdown puts San Diego on top. With 7 touchdown passes, 4 for Carr, 3 for Phillip Rivers.
Defense was unabated across the line of scrimmage. This 5-yard penalty, it was a dead ball foul. Therefore, this 5-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
So we still have the extra point to do
kick.
with Nick Novak. Watch it again.
No, he's right here. It's an effort play. Just get a little antsy. Just try and jump it. Looks like it was Terrell Brown, maybe.
But Fink had that last time. It would be a 2-point lead, and here is another flag on another successful attempted kick by Novak, who has been just absolutely money. He's kicked a field goal today, his 29th consecutive field goal made going back to last season. He also had a 54-yarder earlier, but a holding penalty negated it.
Once again, a foul occurred during the dead ball period. Encroachment, defense. This penalty will be carried over to the kickoff. The offense will be allowed their opportunity from the 2-yard line.
You know, this doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. It's significant. It's field position. Now the offense, Kevin, has to start, probably start, you know, inside their 20. 14 consecutive seasons with 100 or more penalties. It's the longest current streak in the league. You can't keep shooting yourselves in the foot.
He gets it there. 3-point lead for San Diego. 1:56 to go in regulation. For those of you expecting to see 60 Minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS and the game between the San Diego Chargers and the Oakland Raiders. This is Kevin Harlan alongside Rich Gannon and Scott Kaplan on our sideline. A 3-point San Diego lead late in the game. 60 minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following the game, except on the West Coast, where it'll be seen at its normally scheduled time.
And two things, Kevin. Those two penalties, now the Chargers will be kicking off from the 45-yard line. And then you think about timeouts and how important they are late in the game. The Raiders have just one timeout left because they had to blow two of them earlier in the half. Too many players on the field, which cost them to burn a timeout early in the third quarter. And then that last Oakland possession, you know, they had to take their second timeout because there was some confusion coming out of the huddle.
Rich, if you're San Diego, do you bang this into the end zone and out of the end zone, or do you want to make it a chip shot, put it down low where the ball's got to be grabbed and corralled? And
well, the safe play is to bang it out of the back of the end zone, let the Raiders start at 20. You know me, I'm a gambler. I'm a little bit of an aggressive guy. You know me.
Yes,
I know
you.
With the kicker as talented as Novak, you love to see him pop one up and land it inside the 10-yard line and force the Raiders to try and bring it out and field it. And now all of a sudden you get maybe a stop inside the 15.
Raiders have one timeout remaining.
He's going to bang this one away.
He does indeed. To the 20-yard line and a touchback. And rookie quarterback Derek Carr with some pretty good numbers today, obviously. And a lot of drops by his Raider receivers. We'll have it 1st and 10. 5 Raider drops today.
Well, just got to make good decisions. Throwing the ball away in a situation like this, not the end of the world. What he cannot do is take sacks.
Can San Diego hold on and win their 5th consecutive game? Can the Raiders somehow come from behind and stop a 10-game losing skid with a new head coach who took over during the bye? Here we go. One timeout, 1st and 10. Oh, look out. And the ball was jarred free. Atachu, the rookie out of Georgia Tech, knocked it away. San Diego says they've got it. But no declaration from the officials as of yet, and the flag, as you see. Was it a face mask? Did he grab? Yeah, let's see.
Oh, they got a break. Yeah, they're going to call it face mask. Hitting the quarterback in the face.
Personal foul. Grabbing the face mask. Defense. This 15-yard penalty will create an automatic first down.
That was close for the Raiders.
Really close. Bertucci right there. He's trying to grab the ball, and he grabs just the lower part of the face mask of Derek Carr.
You need here, Rich, about 30 yards to get in Janikowski range. Right now, they're at their 35 with a timeout.
One-man rush.
Watson the block on the right side. They got that one off to the receiver, Bryce Butler. It's a gain of 11. He catches the ball right in front of Richard Marshall. And here is a look at Janikowski on the sideline. He's been in this position many times.
Remember now, San Diego is without a couple of their starters at the cornerback position. Sharice Wright didn't dress. Brandon Flowers left the game with a groin injury. He didn't return. So you've got some inexperienced players on the corners.
The 1st and 10 call. That's a big catch by Jones. Quickly wrapped up by Butler, hit by Gilchrist. They'll put him at the 44-yard line of San Diego, close to a first down, gain of about 9. It'll be 2nd down and 1. Janikowski has kicked many long field goals in his career. 2nd and 1. Carr going deep, looking for Butler with Ferret, and intercepted. It was picked off by the rookie on what might be a game-saving pick by Jason Ferret. What a play! His first career interception may have sealed a San Diego win.
Well, he does a nice job not biting on the fake. We knew this guy had great ball skills coming out of TCU. Shows great confidence there. Gets both feet in bounds as well. Look at him go up and compete and fight for that.
Feet were in, ball in his hand. The first turnover of the game, either way today, could decide the game.
did a really nice job exercising some patience there. Excellent read and reaction. As I said, not going for the double move and making a terrific play on the boundary against Bryce Butler.
All turnovers reviewed, and the play has been confirmed, and the Chargers, with 1:13 to go, and the Raiders with only one timeout remaining, will take over at the 5, 1st and 10.
Well, they went for it. I mean, they took the shot, and they just came up a little bit short, but you've got to give credit where credit is due. Kev, as you point out, the rookie, Jason Verrett, got that great short area quickness, but made a really terrific play on the ball.
So what appears to be a game-winning touchdown run by a rookie free agent in Oliver, and the rookie first-round pick out of TCU.
You can't.
Jason Verrett with the interception.
Yeah, Kevin, you can't fault the throw. I mean, it gives him a chance. It's just a terrific play by Verrett. He just goes up and rips it away from Bryce Butler.
You've been on the side of both of these teams. A win late on the road and a loss at home when so much is on the line. And I mean, it's just got to be gut-wrenching.
Oh, it makes you sick to your stomach. I mean, it just, the Raiders really, they played well in this one, and they really responded to the change. And Tony Sparano, I think he did a terrific job during the bye week, going back and making some corrections. I think streamlining some things.
Are you surprised the way they were moving the ball? They went for a deep pass when Janikowski, they were approaching his range to tie it up.
Well, just because they had Bryce Butler going deep doesn't mean there wasn't somebody over the ball or a check down, and that's what you've got to learn as a young quarterback. If it's there, go ahead and pull the trigger. Go ahead and take the shot. But if it's not, find me a completion. Remember now, field goal would have put this game into overtime. So if you're going to take that shot, you got to be certain.
It's 3rd and 12. You see the play clock and the game clock. And one more kneel down. And Rivers will come up with his team in a 5th consecutive win. They go to 5-1. Rivers threw 3 touchdown passes. And on a day when Tony Sparano took over the team, after they fired Coach Dennis Allen, they rode the emotional wave the entire game. And their rookie quarterback right there, Derek Carr, threw 4 touchdown passes. But in the end, a rookie mistake, an interception, and a loss. Number 11. 11 consecutive for the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, but the Raiders got to feel good about the future with Derek Carr. They've been searching, Kevin. They've been looking for a while for a good young quarterback, and I think they found it in Derek Carr.
And how about the rookie free agent running back out of Buffalo, Brandon Oliver? No Matthews, no Donald Brown, no problem. Tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes, followed by Madam Secretary and the Good Wife and CSI. For Rich Gannon and Scott Kaplan, Kevin Harlan saying good night from the Bay Area. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.